I can't seem to shake you, baby. I can't seem to shake you, baby. All I do is dream about you, baby. All I do is dream about you. Remember when you loved me? I loved you, and then you left me alone. You know I'd always come back home. We can't pretend that this is the end, baby. All I do is dream about you. I can't seem to shake you, baby. I swear tomorrow that I'll give you up. Save the sorrow for when we wake up. But for tonight it seems I'm tangled up in you. Tangled up in you. I can't seem to shake you, baby. I can't seem to shake you, baby. I swear tomorrow that I'll give you up. And I will save the sorrow for when we wake up. But for tonight it seems I'm tangled up in you. Tangled up in you. Tangled up in you. Tangled up
Gracias to all the day wonders. You already know what it is. It's Wednesday night, and it's time. It's time to come kick it on Chicano Street. Gracias all the day wonders. Go ahead and hit that like, hit that subscribe, and if you haven't already, you gotta hit the bell, cabron, and then you gotta hit the all. Okay, that way you get notified. Si no, pues yo te dije, cabron. You missed out on something. It was live. ¿Quién tiene la culpa? Puro pedo. Gracias for tapping in live on Chicano Tube, live on Chicano Street. We're going to go ahead and get into it. I want to apologize. There was a little bit of a delay on starting the Wednesday show, but I wanted to mention it because there's some history there. Was at a wake. I was at a wake, and the wake was for a very close friend of mine from the town, from Salinas. You know who you are, Manolo. And of course, I was going to go. His dad passed away. So I hadn't been to a Catholic one in a while, cabron. Before I bring a special guest on, and then I want to touch on one more thing. Uh, and first generation Chicano también. The dad had the story, pues couldn't, he didn't want to teach the kids Spanish because back then in those times, pues era algo que, They got very, very, o sea, era mucho racismo. They're Chicanos. And so the dad, that passed away, good old age, Vietnam veteran, served his country, I mean, with honor, all the way, todas las pinches stripes, you name it. So shout out to that. And that's why it was a little bit of a delay. But man, shout out to all the Chicano channels. Shout out to everyone. You already know who it is. Shout out to Big Paul, Big Joe, Chicano Hollywood. Shout out to Johnny Murillo. Johnny Murillo and Chicano Hollywood. Oh, they're gonna hate when we make those moves, cabron. They're gonna hate when we make those moves. But it is what it is. And then, real quick, before I bring a guest on and we get to something substantial like cultura, like history, like anything and everything that has to do with Chicanismo. Before we do that, which is my favorite topic, gracias to all the Chicano channels. I also want to touch on one more things. I changed the name of the thumbnail because it was a little bit ridiculous at this point. It's a bad look for the raza. It seems like we're just not pulling up and handling our business. Instead, there's these games going on at these car shows, and that's very sad. And it's also very sad that there has to be a child involved, and a child is anyone 1 hour, 1 minute, 1 day under the age of 18. And that's a very, very sad situation right there. Because I didn't want to bring the guest on right now because the opinions expressed here are the opinions only of the owner. Okay, we ain't like these other vatos que van a decir, you went on his podcast, you can't be my friend. That sounds like we're in 5th grade and Billy, you better not play with Bobby or else you won't be my friend. So I'm just gonna leave it to the people's court, but it's already getting embarrassing if we just don't handle this, man. And how do we handle this? We can handle it like shout out to Pastor David Rocha. He dropped a video about content creator series of fighting. We got the pastor's blessing to throw chingazos, so we're good because now the chingazos are going to be thrown regardless. But then we got the pastor on the side praying. Why don't we just handle this and kind of move it off the internet once and for all? And guess what? The next time you hear him talk about it, it'll only be no video, no audio. They'd already had shook hands, and ain't no one have to be best friends. But guess what? Respect gets put back in place. Sometimes you got to get the bad blood out. Okay. Sometimes just get the bad blood out. Okay. That's as far as I'm going to talk about the car show. Now we're going to talk about something a little bit more substantial. Before I do that, I'm going to bring in mi hermano. I'm going to bring in my brother. That's right. Southtown is in the casa. Southtown is in the casa. Can you hear me, Southtown?
Yeah, I can hear you, brother. Buenas
Okay,
noches.
got it, got it. Hey, buenas noches, man, to you. So if you didn't already know, this is mi Chicano hermano over here, Southtown. Tienes canal, so anyone that comes on here that has a canal, I always throw, ahí mando los Chicanos, way. De ahí voy a mandar all the Chicanos over there so they can go ahead and subscribe over there. And I appreciate you for on Wednesday night. You notice I talked about certain things. We don't have to recap those things. I wanted to do those off the air. I'm not the kind of guy, hey, I need 40, 50 people to come with me, or I need to involve other people in certain things. So I kind of mentioned that, but we can definitely move on from that.
Yeah, whatever you want to talk about, bro. I'm open to it, man.
Hey, that's
Anything we
right,
could,
man.
yeah, anything we could do to, bring some positivity, man, and just something a little bit different from what's been going on lately. You know.
That's right. Yeah, I had I had a short that I uploaded that absolutely went crazy. I mean, they got like 1,000 shares in just a very short amount of time. It was the Oscar de la Hoya, and they didn't know that he got into it with Canelo Alvarez. He estaban bien calientes. A lot of people don't know. There's been a backstory from having lawsuits, and then I mean, he just threw everything at him. I don't know if you saw that, cabron. I mean, Alvarez was even talking
Oh,
about he's wearing stockings and medias. That was crazy, man. But it's business.
yeah, that's one of the things with being on, getting popular or being in any kind of media, bro. You're gonna be open to
Criticism.
ridicule, scrutiny.
Hey, you can see the pinchy European blood in Alvarez. Come on now. Red hair, white. It was funny. I was telling my wife, it was it during the wake or sometime when we were sitting down at this wake it was like a 45-minute wake. I was telling her I just saw a video today. I like to when I'm doing like long-term things, like I gotta do I like to listen, try to learn something. And I was watching the history of Jalisco pre-colonization to post-colonization, and it was very, very interesting.
Oh, I would want to see that because that's where my family on one side. is from. Is from Jalisco.
Well,
So
let me ask you this though, because I usually ask this to everyone that comes on the channel respectfully. And then if you want to disclose it, you can disclose it. I ask two things all the time. One, si eres Chicano. And if you're not, I totally understand if you're not, which is fine. And two, what do you think the definition of Chicano is to you, Southtown?
so yeah, I'm definitely Chicano. And yeah, I think last night, bro, last night on uh uh Marvelous explained it, I think, perfectly because he gave the two definitions, which I agree with his explanation of it. And that's why I say, bro, like I think people get being a cholo and a Chicano confused because a cholo, it doesn't matter your ethnicity because you're down with either that clica, that barrio, or the cultura. So that doesn't matter. But a Chicano is specifically for a Mexicano because it goes to Chicano. The real way it's spelled is with an X. You know, everything is with an X. Of course, the spellings got changed, but um, so it is particular to a Mexicano. That's and I believe in that. You know, everybody has their right and their choice to believe whatever they want. But you know, I think there are things that you gotta realize are facts, and you know, some people
Yeah.
don't even want to believe facts.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that's where the nickname comes from, being a Chicano. You know, and he explained it very well, and I think that yeah, I mean that's really what it is, bro. It's you know, and again, I think like the generations of people that are maybe like 55 and up, or maybe even a little older than me, I remember that's what's up. Yeah, Brenda Love. Shout out to Brenda Love.
That's
Um,
right.
they didn't like that term. You know what I mean? They didn't like being called Chicano. They didn't like being called a pocho. It was. I remember this, man, and I was talking to somebody about it. Um, Let me know if those airplanes are loud, bro. I can close that window.
Oh, we're cherry. We're cherry.
Okay. Um, when I remember before, man, when I was first getting into, when I first actually um, became a cholo, you know, and started dressing like that and having the appearance. And I just remember though, even hearing it, you know, and I'll translate in case there's people who don't understand, but you know, I just remember if they seen us, you seen a homie, whatever, it was always pinche cholo, or you know, or who did los pinches cholos, or you know, if a homie came in the room, especially anybody who's ever lived near Tijuana or a border town, and when you used to we used to go over there, it was real bad, bro. You know, for many reasons, but that's like it's like that everywhere. It's not anything out of ordinary. People do that to their own people. It's the same thing with Puerto Ricans. If you're a Puerto Rican born in New York, you're considered a Nuevo Rican, and there's all these, you know, it's
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
you know, things that are created by people to kind of identify, and then people kind of take it and run with it,
And
and
the reason I ask that is, well, I mean, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, we can only identify with our own experience and who we are, and that's why I say that. I don't say that as some kind of superiority complex, or
yeah.
if you ain't brown, you ain't something like no, 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 no. I'm saying that because I can only identify with other Chicanos that I grew up with, and again, like my buddy whose dad has a story, like, you know what, he didn't want to teach his children Spanish so they wouldn't go through what he went through, but obviously times have changed a lot right there, but that's crazy.
Everybody, yeah, no, it's a trip because yeah, some parents would do that, and then like my dad told me, and I didn't know this, but I kind of figured it, but he barely told me recently. He never spoke English to me in the house, and it was only Spanish. Um, Not until I learned English in school. So that's why I know how to speak Spanish. Very, you know, I think pretty well for not being raised in Mexico, but hey, another thing I want to say real quick too, bro. I think that a lot of people misconstrue and have all mixed up and confused because I've seen a video on it today where people say, you know, what are you? And you say, oh, Mexicano. Well, where were you born in
Mhm.
America? Well, there's North America and there's South America. we're all Americans. It's not about being American. Now, if you want to talk a United States citizen, that's different. Pero todos somos americanos. Americano has nothing to do. You're either del norte or del sur, and that's it. So americano todos somos. You know, we're all American if you're born here. So I think that's another big confusion. So, um, you
Yeah,
know, because
the continent of America.
I'm Mexican American. Yeah, but I'm a North American Mexican. That's the correct way to say it. You know what I'm saying? Or because that's just the truth. That's how my family told me. They would say, todos somos americanos, güey. Aquí es América, no los Estados Unidos. So you feel me? I think that's another thing that people kind of get
Yeah.
like, oh.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how I got checked. I had a T-shirt and it said Mexican American. It said Proud American. It said something like Proud American, Mexican American, whatever. And this OG from OC, bro. He did 16 years in the Fed. He's the first one who I learned about the Mexica. He's the reason why I got into learning about my cultura because he saw my shirt and then he went like this and he called me over and he pulled me to the side and he just started asking me questions. And once he knew I didn't know anything, he goes, "Let me tell you about that shirt." And then he started explaining things to me. And let's see, he would be right now about 60 something. And
That's right. Did you ever
and
have
he
you ever
had,
heard of the story? My bad. Have you ever heard of the
go,
story
go.
of Geronimo?
Not completely. Not,
Okay. That was crazy because I was talking with a youngster, and I like to talk about these things through. You know, whenever time I'm in the neighborhood, the community, the youngsters will stop me. Hey, man, that was crazy. You're talking about. Remember last time we were talking about Malinche? We're talking
yeah,
about Malinche,
yeah,
different topics, right? The story of Geronimo, he was an Apache Indian, okay? And they lived like in that northern region of Mexico, which you could consider Arizona, whatever, that
yeah,
region. But they were always at war, the Apache, his tribe, with Los Americanos, which is the soldiers, other tribes, which is like the Comanches and all them, y también the Mexicans, because after 1821, when they became, you know, a sovereign country, they were on all corners, always at war. And what did it for Apache Geronimo was he ended up they set up a camp. The men were going to go over here, and they set up a camp and left some men behind to watch the women and children. But by the time they got back from getting resources or rations or whatever, they had killed su esposa, su mamá, y sus tres hijos.
damn, bro.
He had such a hatred for Mexicans, Geronimo did, that even into all the raids and all the battles, they asked him on his deathbed because he gave his memoirs and they wrote an autobiography. You know, he gave his last words on his deathbed, and he said, he goes, "I can't go to war no more because I'm not young. But if I was young, I'd be on a war path with Mexico again." He hated him that much. He said that on his deathbed, but it was a different time, man. A lot of people, like you were saying, they call us pochos, they call us cholos, they call us all these names. A lot of people don't know the raza been hating on each other since how long?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Always. Well, you know, like even in the story of with our people with the Spanish conquering, it was only because of the other tribes that helped them, and then there was a lot of tribes that weren't dominated. It's just the Mexica was the most. The Mexica advanced in the shortest amount of time more than anybody else, and that's why they were able to dominate and become the most powerful. But there was a lot of other tribes that you know, like another thing too, bro. When it's important we educate our people because, like me, I felt dumb. I was on a job and I heard these vatos, and this is what I said. I was like, it was me and some homies, and I go, "Órale, están hablando indio," and the dude goes, "Este way, he's all, es dialecto way." He's all se dice dialecto because there's different dialects. And then I went back and asked, and I tripped out. I just remembered my grandfather speak Nahuatl. My grandfather knew how to speak um some
Nahuatl.
dispensa, yeah. And so yeah, man, it's a trip how you know, not knowing sometimes you can say things or say certain words that don't even mean anything unless you know you're educated.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't know that. That was crazy. You know, And a lot of people didn't even know that. Of course, there was a Mexican and American war. It's not on the
Oh,
highlights of the U.S. study system because here they spoon feed us. But there was like a 2 year war, back and forth, back and forth. Why the
did you
property
know
was lost?
that?
Demon.
And it makes sense, bro, that we're doing what we're doing. Did you know that Pancho Villa was the first um person to ever record a live war, and he printed his own money? Have you ever read his whole story? They made a little movie about it, but the DVD's even better. But real talk, bro, there's footage out there somewhere of the Mexican American War, and they filmed it.
You talk. I don't doubt it. I think they've been spoon feeding us technology that probably has already been existed, and we're just getting it spoon fed. As far as we know, right? But that's crazy. You're talking about the revolucion. Here we go. Here comes the holiday. Here comes the weekend. We've been seeing all the Mexicano flags on
Oh
all the rides and all the troquitas and all the ramplas. And to be honest, and I'm just gonna maybe I'll ask Southtown right here, SD. Shout out to Southtown SD. Subscribe to his channel though. Do me a favor, go run those numbers up to Southtown SD. Um, they they don't even celebrate it in the country of Mexico. It seems to be a commercial holiday that, well, people just que son mexicanos. It's like como the hair, like como la pluma se paran en a rooster. But
the
the
reason to
Battle of
party.
Puebla. What do you know about the Battle of Puebla?
I'm not. I'm educated on certain topics, man. There's so much history. I don't remember too much about that. I know that they used it. I know our independence was from France, and that's on the 15th of September. But I mean, the Mexican independence, the real one. Cinco de Mayo, they used, I think, yeah, that the Battle of Pueblo. So I'm not sure exactly the whole thing on that, brother.
No, that's right. That's right. Well, they're celebrating already. We got the rides out. Matter of fact, so I'm gonna play some music. I do this every single year, and I'm gonna have some tequila. You know what's crazy, carnal, is most of the doctors that are holistic doctors. Me and my wife were big on health.
Yeah.
Okay, even if I didn't want a six pack, I would have a six pack. I can't. My wife is cooking. It's all diet 100%. We're health nuts over here. We're in the holistic. But even they, you know what I mean, give my bad. That's right. It was a Texas Mexico war. Well, we already know. Yeah, it was a Texas Mexico war. I know, cabron. So is this stolen land? What do you think? Was the land stolen? What do you think about the
Yeah.
treaty with Mexico losing about 30-40% of its territory up here in a battle for 2 years? Was that a one-sided thing? Los güeros were gonna come smash and dominate, or it was just gonna take its course and it is what it is? Or do we need it back?
Yeah, it was definitely stolen, bro. But yeah, I mean, you know, we can't do anything about it now. I think it's just knowing the history and not letting it happen again. And yeah, bro. I mean, Mexico was well, pretty much all of North America, almost, man. If you really look at it, because on the map it's only halfway, but man, I mean, you're talking about Texas, Colorado, like yeah, pretty much half of it, bro. So
I mean, we're gonna keep it real. Those U.S. generals, they were smashing. I mean, come on now. They mean now because we grew up here as pochos, we're Chicanos, ¿verdad? We're U.S. raised aquí, ¿verdad? I went to more school with gringos with blonde hair and blue eyes than
yeah,
I went to school than I did with Mexicanos. Now the demographics have changed nowadays, but that's how I went here as being my parents born in Mexico and me being here. And they glorify those heroes, cabron. They're sitting on a horse and the banners are flying in the wind and the flag, old glory. But you know what? I respect it because as a Chicano, I also know that I embrace the U.S. culture side. I mean, this is exactly what my parents had a vision of. You know what? Vamos al norte. Vamos al norte. If we can go ahead and just plant our, over there, get ourselves situated, our children are gonna have better lives. I mean, this is not that was the goal of my parents. I mean, have you heard that? Of course you have.
yeah, bro. Trip out on this, man. My grandfather, he was born in San Fernando Valley because my great grandfather and grandmother were working the fields up there. So he was a United States citizen. So um they unfortunately, man, when my oldest uncle was 25, he was murdered in Tijuana, and my mom and my grandfather, they moved over here to the United States, and pretty much brought the family over here. But he was raised, in Tijuana, and then raised my mom in Mexicali. But my grandfather, being a dual citizen, he was smart. He started working, self-educated, and did good for himself. But yeah, I tripped out because he was a United States citizen, and then my mom and all of my uncles, aunts, and uncles, they weren't because they were born in Mexico. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So you said you're Jalisco. Is that the only state in the bloodline? If you don't mind me asking, if you want to disclose it or not.
Yeah, Jalisco and Sonora. Yeah, so the
Okay.
Jalisco, they come from, I believe, I just saw the paperwork, bro. Palo Alto, and then on my grandma's side, I mean on my dad's side is from Arizona, Yaqui Indian from Sonora.
It's funny. We were just talking about Geronimo a little bit. I mentioned him. Some video came across my feed and I watched it. It was interesting. I believe he was from a city, Arizpe, Arizpe, and I think it was Sonora, cabron.
Yeah,
But the thing
yeah.
with
There's a
them is
lot, bro.
they were indigenous Indians, cabron, and I mean they as soon as Mexico became a country and identified, it's almost more Mexican. We are a nation of Mexico. That doesn't mean they got along. The natives and the Mexicans had beef. They were just tribalism
Yeah.
that's been going on forever. I'm sure the natives are looking at the Mexicans like, come on, these are our pinche primos. Just the güeros that came over on the boat, pues se metieron ellos más que nosotros. We stayed, with our old ways, in our old way of life. Pero estos cabrones, we just know they intermarried y ahora tienen bigotes. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but and it's a trip too because people speak like like there's still 100% blood. There's still people that are 100% Mexica, 100% Mayan, 100% the Oaxaca and the other, all the other different ones, bro. I've been to Tlaxcala, Texcoco. It's a trip, bro. It's a trip to see and meet those people and
Why
speak
do you
to
think
them.
why do you think now more than ever people would love to find out if they have any percentage to be native? Is it just because it's something whimsical or makes you strong, some kind of warrior lineage, or why do people
We're
want
in
to be it? And they or and then they end up like Elizabeth Warren with 1%. But anyways,
Nah, so we're in the age of awakening, bro. Where it's after the solar eclipse, we're in the age of Aquarius, right? So people's minds are it's if you don't so basically this is a time for people to wake up and receive the knowledge and understand, and then you're gonna progress. Otherwise, you're gonna stay in the same thing and be left behind. That's why everybody's seeking it, and it's been hidden, bro, because it's inside everybody to know where we come from and who we are.
what do you think about this? What do you think
So
about this comment right here, cabron? Friends of the Mexican says mestizaje, and I'm maybe he's talking about the name mestizo, where it came from, is a colonial myth and a media construct. There, of course, there's gonna be labels. There's gonna be labels. Actually, I believe real indigenous gente would rather identify with how their grandparents and great grandparents told them. No, you're from the Sai tribe in the Waba Valley, instead of them getting these labels like Indians. Did you know that where the pinche name Indian came from? Eso
yeah,
era el cabrón
yeah,
Columbus.
yeah. No, I was gonna say something right now too. Right before that,
Oh, well, I'll finish the point that maybe you could remember. But ese cabrón
yeah, yeah.
wanted to find some Indians because he thought he was on the quickest path to India. He was just trying to do a trade route. Next, thing you know, he ends up, like you had mentioned, in the continent of America. And then so the Indian name just stuck. It just kept getting passed on and getting talked about. And if something is still talked about, it's gonna be spread. So mestizo is just another label, but I believe indigenous people really want to identify with who they are and stop calling them que son indianos. I mean, it's up to them. It's up to. I know I have native blood. I know I've done the
I
pinching
know
in the
what.
DNA y todo eso. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no, real quick, I remember now. And this is what it is. It's been suppressed, brother. This is why. So, man, I think his name is Tizoc or Huerta. He's the guy who played Kukulkan in Black Panther 2. Correct me if somebody please, if you can look up his name, his exact name. I don't want to say his name wrong. But the actor, the Mexicano, he started a movement called Prieto Poder Prieto. So for people who don't know, Prieto means like moreno, like tan, like brown. And his movement was because in Mexico, I don't know if you've ever watched Mexican TV, the villains are either brown, the villains and the workers are brown. The heroes and everything else, you're blonde hair, blue eyed, light skin. It's the same way in the Philippines too. It's the same way anywhere Spain dominates. And that's if you really look at it, and so that's why people that's what they see, that's what they want to be like. They don't show the native side. They hide it. So he was fighting for it. So trip on this. They blackballed him in Mexico right before he got the role of Black Panther. So he turned around and gave him the finger, said, I don't even need you no more. I made it in the biggest platform you can make it in the United States. And he didn't sell out. He made sure that they stuck to representing our cultura 100%.
Friends of the
And I
Mexicans,
don't
but
know.
I think go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna tell him. So I think it's a label. He has another good one. But no, finish your point, Cabron. He was talking about Mexican is native blood. I was gonna say I look at Mexico. Are we? There's a difference between bloodlines. Ahora estamos talking about the blood. What's inside of you? Okay, there's a difference in that. And then we have nationalities that people identify with.
Right.
I was giving this analogy. Me and the wife went on date night the other night and went her favorite concert singer in the world that she'd see him 1,000 times, Luis Miguel. Okay,
Okay.
the dad was born in Spain, 100%
Yeah.
Spanish. The mom is 100% Italian. Este cabrón was born because they would travel and sing music, the dad, in Puerto Rico, but he was 100% raised Mexican. So it's two different things where we're talking about the bloodlines or if we're talking about just nationalities and cultures. To me, Mexico, of course, it's a nation, it's a country, but the culture, man, I think it's the best pinche culture. I'm just going to put this out here. I think we got the best comida, cabrón. I think we got the best colores when it comes to the fiestas. I think we're a hardworking raza that takes care of our family. I compare us a lot to Italianos. But I know I was talking with Norbies the other day, and I told him we want to come on the channel, cabron. We could talk about how he said if it we would have been better off without the colonization. And I told him, cabron, if we would have been without the colonization, there would be no Chicano tube. What do you think
That's
about
true.
that? We'd be better off without the colonization.
I think so, and I'll tell you why I agree with him, bro. Because when I've heard it from the people myself. I was in Acapulco, and we were walking around, and there was a vendor there, and she was like, "Órale, son del otro lado, verdad?" And I go, "Yeah." She was saying, I keep forgetting to translate. So she was basically asking me if I was from the United States, and I told her yes. So she said, "Yeah, I was. I went out there." She said, "But." She said, I was away from my family. Um, she said los gringos me trataban bien mal. So she said the white people treated her really bad, and all she did was work. And so she thought about it, and she said, man, I'm just gonna go home and do the same thing, but be with my family. And so she was like, I have everything I need right here. She's like, I don't need to go over there and be mistreated and be far away from. She's like, man, I love it here. People over there don't really care about over here, man. It's a very small percentage that really crave and want to be, want to live over here. Now, do they want to be like us and do things that we do? Yeah, for sure. But as far as the lifestyle, it's a lot more affordable in Mexico, even though the pay is a lot lower, but you can get your hustle on, everything's negotiable, and man, when I was in Teotihuacan, I love it, bro. They start early in the morning and then they take a break at 1. And you know why they take a break? Everybody goes home. They pick up the kids from school. They take they eat dinner together. They rest, and then they open the puesto back up at 6 or 7, and then they're open all night. She can't. They don't. She will
Beautiful.
never do that
That's
here, bro.
family oriented, huh? I mean, I wish we could take it back to those days where we could leave our doors unlocked and look out for each other as a community. You know what? Let me say this real quick. You know, one of my principal messages, cabron, is unity of the raza. It's one of my principal messages. This channel, it picks up, it's a continuation of the work I do in the juvenile hall, in the camps with the youngsters, and everything else that I do, right? In the community, right? Unity de raza, man. I really, truly hope we can get to that point where it's just, we need to unite behind a party or behind a person, but we need to
Yeah.
unite behind a movement. And it makes me ahora me agüito, and I'm young. I'm only in my 40s, right? The youngsters call me an older head. Y me agüito, man, because I can see the future on these youngsters. When I go and visit them at the camp, they're all blasted up, and they're getting sent back to the juvenile, getting in the fights all the time, and they're just waiting till they turn 18 and put them on the bus. I see this cycle and it breaks my heart. And what even pisses me off, Spencer, more, is to see these cabrones that say they're here trying to educate people and trying to help people, and their actions show the complete opposite. If I mention anyone's name on my platform, it has nothing to do with my guests or my invitees. It's only because they're cabrones that are saying, they don't have a lane. They have multiple personalities. They don't have a lane. And I get upset with that. But I'm big. Unity de Raza is a hard message in Salinas, Califas, where I'm from, my brother. I don't know if you're familiar with Salinas.
I've never been, but I mean, of course, the city, of course, yes. I've only driven through, but yeah, I'm definitely familiar with Salinas. I don't know, for sure.
Okay, it has a lot of culture. We were at the end of the corrida run. We had a headquarters for the UFW right there. And it just has
Yeah.
a lot of culture, man. I just hosted a pelea, and
Call from
I just hosted a
Risky business.
I just hosted a pelea, and
to accept, press 1.
all
To
the
send a
people that came
voicemail,
from
press
all the people that came from SoCal loved it. They said all the bridges are blasted up. It's just a lot of cultura, risky business. You're in the casa. I know you've seen the phone number. I know you like cultura as a
What?
topic. I knew you were gonna call in, cabrón.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Buenas noches, Mikey. Buenas noches to your guest. I don't know if he can hear me there.
I think
Yeah,
he can
buenas
hear you.
noches.
Yeah, sí te oye.
Okay, badass. Okay, look, I got a question for your guest. And how from a non-Chicano, right? Because I'm a Mexicano, as I said before, Mikey. But how can Chicanos, as non-Chicanos, to respect and not change the definition of what Chicano is or means, if basically what I'm hearing from your guest, and no disrespect, this is just a conversation, right?
Yeah, shoot it.
It's like he's pretty much making his own definition of Chicano also, because the two things that I know Chicano to be that are, I think, pretty much defined and everything, and people pretty much agree on, is a first generation born U.S. citizen of Mexican parents, right? And the second one that I've heard is Chicano is like a person that has ethnic pride and a non-Anglo view of themselves. So I've heard those two things when it comes to Chicano. But what your guest is saying right now, he's saying that it's from
So,
the
so
Mexica,
you've
that it
heard
comes
those,
directly
you've
from
heard
the
those two
Mexica
things.
people.
But if you
He'll
look
answer.
at the
I
He'll
orange,
answer it
don't-
right now. He'll answer that.
Yeah, so I don't see the connection, because look, by those standards, I would say that the people that live in present time Mexico City would be closer to the Mexica people than a U.S. citizen born in the southwest part of the United States. And that person in Mexico City is not going to consider themselves a Chicano, but they would be closer to the Mexica people than a U.S. citizen. So I'm just using logic here. I'm just using common sense. So how can you say that Chicano comes directly from Mexique? I don't get that.
it's in the spelling, bro. If you look at the spelling, Mexica, Mexica, Chicano. The original spelling is with an X. If you look at it, oh, can you hear me or no?
You can't hear him?
No, sir.
No, you can only hear me?
Yeah. But that's fine.
Take it off
you
the
heard
air.
me,
Take it off the air if you want. You want to take it off the air? And then if you want, dame otro sonazo, güey.
All right, all right.
Oh,
Ándale, pues. Cuídate, Risky.
the lines get messed up sometimes, huh?
Yeah, no problem. It could be that or whatever it is, glitchy stuff. But if you heard his question, a ver, he's still listening in. La respuesta, dile.
Yeah, well, you know, if you listen to what he says, bro, he says he heard this and he heard that. So that's hearsay. We should just pull up the definition and see what Google says. But I'm telling you, from somebody who grew up in San Diego and Tijuana, by Chicano Park, and I know what I know. I mean, we can do this again with Roberto. He teaches Chicano studies at SDSU. I was gonna try and get in touch with him, and we can actually have a professor explain what Chicano means. But again, you don't have to believe it, but it is for a Mexicano, just like Argentinians are gauchos and Puerto Ricans are Boricua and whatever you call what do they call what Gil and them, the Hondurans, whatever their nickname is.
Catrachos.
There you go. Everybody has one, bro. Again, being a cholo, you could be whatever you want and be a cholo or be a look like a homie, be a part of the cultura. And go ahead and call yourself a Chicano if you want to, and if you're not, it doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything. The truth of the matter is, it was made for the Mexican people. Anybody can use it if they want to. I don't care. I don't take it as an offense. I see it as a compliment. When people want to be like us and look like us, it's a compliment.
Miklo.
And bro, and the homie that was calling in, dog, have you been to? And back to the other topic about will we be better off, bro? Our people didn't need anything, dog. When the Spanish came, they didn't need anything.
Call from.
You know what I wanted to say
Jenny
too is
Selby.
I feel, and I don't know how people are gonna take this, that I can be American. Jenny, my friend Jenny Selby, that I can be American, Mexican, and Chicano at the same time. Maybe someone wants to try to talk me out of that. I don't think so. My friend Jenny Selby, La Chicana.
Hey, what's up? Okay, I got a comment and a question. Why the division in this great country of ours? We can identify as who we want. Being a Chicano is a culture, not a race. I'm a Morena. My father was born in Sinaloa. He's white as white can be. He can pass for a white boy. Well, he used to anyway. My mother is a Native American. Okay, she is a New Mexico Indian. I'm proud of my culture, all of them. You know what? If you want to call yourself a raisin, call yourself a raisin. It doesn't matter. But you know what? As people, I'm saying my hope, Rafa, we have to stop fighting amongst ourselves. You can identify as what you want. You know, hey, it's in our Constitution, the United States of America. Okay, I went to school and I'm proud of it. My father taught me that you can't take your education away. You can't go to school, read books, open a book. That's how we learn.
Jenny Selby laying the law down.
That's right, baby, because my daddy and my mama and my grandparents taught it to me. Mi abuelito era de Zacatecas, indígeno. I got on both sides of my family, and I'm proud of the culture.
You know what, amiga? I had Si Se Puede podcast. He came to call the fight with me, Si Se Puede, Alfonso Gomez, and he asked me, what best restaurant in Salinas? Mike, I want Grandma's Kitchen's food. I said, you got to go to El Zacatecano.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Hey. Okay. Another thing. Did you read my comment, what I said about my tribe, the Navajo, which is the Dine?
Dime.
The Dine. It's the code talkers.
Okay, dime.
Okay. See, the women have the power, but we rule with the men beside us, not in the front or the back. It takes both of us. You know, people have to stop fighting it and, and treat us women like queen, and we'll treat you like king, baby. That's how it says it. Read the Bible and you'll find out what I'm talking about.
Jenny La Chicana.
You have a good day, bro. Okay?
You. God bless.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So what do you think? Should we teach our children cultura mexicana? There's some people that say no and are actually opposed to that. Some people will say don't even teach them Spanish. And then there's the other extreme. Well, you should teach them the native tongue and the native. Hold on, cabron. I know when I look in the mirror, okay, I know I'm half Spanish, or else I'd be más moreno with no facial hair. Or I mean, let's just keep that real. You know what I mean? Should we continue to pass this down? What do you think? La cultura mexicana that our parents and grandparents taught us?
Yeah, everybody has the right to do what they please with their children, you know, but with their life. But yeah, I think that's another thing I wanted to say too. As much as I love my indigenous side, bro, I listen to corridos, rancheras, norteños. I love my speaking Spanish. It's the most dominant language in the world. There is no shame in that at all. That's another thing that people seem to
they get
get
shamed
confused.
for. I
They
know
get
exactly.
confused.
The native back in the day, they were like, they didn't tell them back in the day when the colonialization was happening, hey, how come they're just learning this language to trade?
Look, bro, I'm gonna show you. Let me see.
They're just learning this language to survive, to trade food. Remember we were talking about Malinche last time, bro? Why did they call Malinche traicionero, cabron, when maybe she was just doing what she needed to survive? Go ahead.
No. There's so many things we could speak on that story, but the main thing I wanted to say, and this is another thing for people to think about. When Cortez took the son that they had, he went back to Spain, bro. So there's Mexicanos coming from Spain because that son is half. I forgot her actual tribe. She was closer to, I believe,
Probably
a
the
Mayan
enemy of the
tribe
Aztecs. Probably
than
the enemies of
Mexica.
the
Yeah.
Aztecs.
She came from a royal tribe too, though, so that's why she was intelligent. She was educated. But anyways, so there's that one, bro. There's the braceros that went to the Big Island in Hawaii. 1,500 Mexicanos. There's Mexicanos that went to the Philippines. So a lot of times people say Spanish, 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 but it originated from Spanish. But there's Mexicanos that've been around for a long time too. And you got to remember too, when they did take the land from us, they immediately, I think it was over 250,000 Mexicanos became U.S. citizens. So my great great grandfather was a U.S. citizen also. A lot of people don't see. There's just people speak on things that they don't know about, and when you call in, try not to say I heard this, I heard that. What I'm telling you are things that I have read or things that I have heard firsthand from people. If you want to see a pure African in Mexico, go to Veracruz and they have pure Africans. I've seen them, bro, and then they have the mulattoes, but they're still pure there. And I've seen pure Mayans, pure. I'm telling you, man, you just have to get out of the little city and state that you're in and look. You know, I've been blessed to travel. I'm not trying to put anybody down, but I'm speaking facts. I'm not speaking from watching a movie, a video. I've been there myself. I've been to Texcoco, Tlaxcala, DF a couple times, Teotihuacan, Veracruz, Morelia. I used to go twice a year to Guadalajara. I've been up in
Imagine going to the temple of Quetzalcoatl or something like that.
Loreto, Cancun, bro. On my
I'd be
YouTube
right there.
channel, go to my YouTube, and I have a video. This was in midnight at the end of the Playa de Carmen. It's the Mayans. They're doing a Mayan dance. I have Mayan and Mexica dancing. Everything changes once you go down there. Everything turns Mayan. It's a trip. It's beautiful.
Friends of the Mexicans, hey, this guy right here, cabron, I'm gonna have to maybe give this cabron a wrench right here. He asks really good questions. At least what I like to hear is get people's juices flowing. At least let's think and leave this pinchy live a little bit smarter. We could always talk chisme and chingazos because it's in our blood. La raza le encanta eso. But American is a colonial false imposed label like Latino and Hispanic. Again, labels have to be made. How can you document something without it having a name?
One thing that they did too, they did it to my family. My mom told me they changed people's names. They either changed the name, added to it, misspelled it. So that's another thing that a lot of people don't know and realize. And then Man, there was one other thing we were talking about right now. I saw. I've got so many things.
Last names get passed down. You know what I mean? They intermarry, skin colors. I mean, I don't know if there is even left in this world. Is there pure blood? I mean, it might be all mixed
There,
at this point because come on now.
there's still pure. Very few, I would say now, in certain places, but no, there's definitely people that you know, um, and
Like
that's another thing
indigenous
that
people? Are you talking about Güeros, indigenous people, or Europeans, or
Um, wherever, dog. Like, if you're speaking on, let's say, like Hawaii, right? There's very few pure Hawaiians. They've been diluted and mixed. But there's an island where it's all pure Hawaiian, and then the Hawaiians who do have the pure bloodline have the paperwork. Just like my homeboy, Adrian. He's the I told you he's a descendant of one of the Aztec kings. He has his paperwork. If he were to move to Mexico City, he would receive royalties from the government. And that's another thing too that I heard people say all the records were, yeah, in some cities the records were destroyed in floods and fires, but in a lot of other places it wasn't. I have it right here. I have the marriage certificates and death certificates of my grandparents and great grandparents. That's how I know where they come from.
I got
And
about maybe 5 or 6 generations going up. I've been blessed,
oh,
privileged to know going up. So yo soy la mitad Michoacán. Mi papá era de Cualcomán, Michoacán, y mi mamá era de Jalisco, San Jose de Gracia, Jalisco. And it's crazy how just Jalisco was 100% indigenous.
no, but
And
you know
then
what?
now look at it.
Yeah, but you know what? Jalisco, the light skin comes from, you had Irish that came, so people with the last name Moran, that's an Irish name. You had Russians, there's a Russian community. There's people that came from all around the world and established. Why? Because we were good people, bro. We would usually let them come in and chill, and they would stay, and of course, have children, and that's why we have a mixture of colors and even me. My dad is a lot more light skinned than me. I'm way
So,
darker.
like
And
Europeans have those Europeans, Spencer. Europeans have like those sleeker facial features and stuff like that. And when I think about it, a lot of my primas que están en Jalisco, they're güeras, and they have like thinner faces, and it could be like you said, other Europeans other than Spanish.
but a lot of things too depend on regions, bro. Because look, I'll tell you this. You might not know this. Your nose will say a lot about your ancestry. People with small, pointy noses typically are lighter skinned too, come from an area that's really cold because your nose has to cool the air if it's too cold for your brain. And if it's too hot, it has to warm it up. I mean, if it's too hot, it has to cool it down, and if it's too cold, it has to warm it up. So that's why if you look at places that are tropical, subtropical, and you look at the people's noses, they're gonna have bigger, wider noses. If you look at our noses, ours are like right in the middle, but it's more to like where I live, San Diego, like 70, 80 degrees. It's perfect, like really nice weather. The weather in Mexico is amazing, bro. Especially Michoacan. I love Michoacan, bro.
Michoacan estaba, where my pops is from, Cualcomán. It's like a valley, like a forest. It's all evergreens, o sea, puros árboles. The oxygen is
Bro.
clean, and the aguacates are as big as like footballs. That's like the main export.
Yeah, bro. I went to a ranch that was 100 hectares, bro. 100 hectares, un rancho it's the biggest ranch in Morelia.
100 hectáreas. Big, huge. I know exactly, man. No, I
Crazy,
appreciate you,
bro.
cabron. That's
Hey,
right,
but to
man.
that lady too, nah, man. The hyenas, the ladies, they gotta stay in the back. No, just kidding, just kidding.
Stop.
I want her to flip out right now. No, that's what's up. It's always good to have a good woman by your side, definitely.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I appreciate her. Gracias for coming in. Gracias for all the shouts out. 100% Michoacano Vales HCP chemistry. I'm just reading some comments right now, man. We'll probably wrap it up about 8:30, man. Again, I started a little bit later. I went to a wake, pero el papá también era first generation. He went to Vietnam War. He was saying in the Vietnam Wars, los Chicanos, they just hung out together. O sea, this is the 60s, right? Different times. MLK came later and rocked and changed the world, right? He was like, I think he was a prophet, to keep it real with you, because he had a message that hadn't been heard before. You know, he was just breaking it down. But anyways, his father went to the Vietnam War. Los Chicanos, they hung out together, cabrones, but just like the other races did. But I could imagine, ahí están los güeyes, you know what I mean? Ahí están talking shit, estos pinches güeros. Who knows what the pinche Chicanos, but they would get bullied and shunned, and they would talk shit to them, bully them because they spoke Spanish, cabron.
Yeah, bro. That's why. Yeah, I know. That's why a lot of Rasa, you know, like what they did to a lot of other natives, they didn't let them speak the language, and you know, you kind of lose yourself in who you are.
Tenían
And it's
carpas, they would just have to camp out like under tents. Like they wouldn't even be allowed inside the suburbs, the communities. Of course, those are for the güeros. Again, I'm talking about a different time, gente. I'm not one of these vatos that's stuck in the past. And
we're
that's all
not.
I'm
Yeah,
talking about. I
exactly.
love this country. I love my Mexican country. I embrace both nationalities. Don't ever get that twisted. This is Chicano Tube and this is Chicano Street. And we're just trying to enlighten people through knowledge and our experiences.
Exactly. Yeah. No. 100%.
Happy 1977 girl says, that's right. Chicano tu familia. I appreciate it, man. So yeah, it's you know, we're gonna go about maybe 5 more minutes, cabron. Anything else that you wanted to say? Did something we didn't touch on? Let's hit it.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, but I want before too a bunch of things, bro. But you know what? I think with people that have issues, brother, if they can't necessarily get busy, like get in the ring, I think another thing that we could do that would be cool and I think would be entertaining también would be like a fitness competition. Be like, hey, you know, see who could do the most push-ups, sit-ups, whatever, or have them do a little obstacle course and who does the best time, something physical, but to where they don't have to fight each other because you know you know what I'm saying. Not everybody could do that.
I understand that because at the end of the day, it might not even solve it. It just better not make it worse, sir, because that's not my whole thing is this shit. I'm not here to propagate that también, but I'm here to say, you know what? We should be setting an example también off the internet. Not on the internet, off the internet, because imagine if all the raza united and we're just elevating up and up. We can become a powerhouse, put the platforms, we're going side by side in a direction. Like we got November coming up. You know, I talk politics. I won't get into it, cabron, because I don't want them throwing a jacket on you just because you came on Chicano Tube. They call me all kinds of names, but one thing I do speak is the truth because I'm tapped into the community. I know what's affecting us in our wallets, and that's what I'm going to. So I would love for all of us to at least push that. If we can't throw chingazos, at the end of the day, I say they could throw chingazos. We can leave it in the pay-per-view realm. Everyone gets paid, and when they go back to their podcast, guess what? Respect is back in place.
Yeah, I think
until someone burns the bridge again.
I think if everybody respects everyone's point of view, and just like even with what you said, when it comes to politics, even if we don't agree, I want to hear what you have to say because if you're passionate about it, you're going to give me some facts on it, right? And then I could decide better. And that shouldn't have anything to do with who you are as a person and how I feel about you. Nobody's ever going to agree on everything, but I think like with the dog game, I'll give the example of what I'm in. There's so many realms to the dog world. Everybody has their place. If I don't like something, that's fine, but I'm not going to speak on it and even give it that energy. If that's what people want to run with and be a part of, that's cool. And I think that applies to everything. Now, when things get out of hand and they need to be addressed, I think it's okay to address things, and then that's it. Don't give it any more energy. Because real ones know how we're supposed to conduct ourselves, and even just as a man in general. Forget about being a cholo because you know me. I'm pro. Just to make it clear too, I'm pro cholo. I've always been and proud to be one. First and foremost, and Chicano too. But I think that we're not always going to get along. We're not always going to agree, but we shouldn't put each other down or speak negative. And like you said, if you really got an issue, take it to the person directly in private, and then that's it. That's the way to handle it, man or woman, you know?
Yeah, just pull up and get it out of the way, and then that way we can move on already. It's as easy as pulling up. I think it's past the phone call. like Marvelous had said last time. Okay, here I go. I said names now. But he went on there and did a video, and he pretty much came out of de él that, it's to the point where we got to talk face to face, and that's it. And that can accomplish a lot more. But you know what it doesn't accomplish? If another person is just going to be in it for fake views, fake beefs. So you can never trust someone, cabron, after you found out they're staging stuff. I mean, can you? To me, it's like, okay, I can't trust you for nothing. It's like the moon landing. You faked it like the moon landing, cabron. I mean, once I found out you faked the moon landing, I can't trust a single thing. So how am I supposed to believe when you say I got the truth? How's the world supposed to believe it? That's another topic. But I created Content Creator Series of Fighting to set up platforms like this. We don't got to get along. Sometimes promoters and fighters don't get along, but we could do business together. And that's all I'm saying. But, or else just shut up. Just keep it quiet, man, and keep it off the internet.
Yeah, don't give it no energy. That's what I mean. It should just be, we should be having fun on here. That's why I was saying, even with a competition, something that'll humble each other, to apologize and not take, not let little things get out of hand. But yeah, bro, I think that I just wanted to make that, to give my point of view, and I hope that people don't take it the wrong way. But yeah, I believe to be educated in my cultura. I'm not an expert, a master. I have a lot to learn, but I'm 50 years old. I've been around for a minute. I've traveled a lot. I've studied a lot. I've read a lot of books. I've studied in theology and other religions. I have a degree in business. And like I said, especially these last couple of years, I've been studying and learning a lot more. And there's a lot to learn, people. So I mean, that I would just encourage you to learn about who you are and where you come from. And I mean, it's there's so many books, man. There's so much to learn. It's
That's right.
There's just not enough time,
That's right, man. We talked about a lot of things. You guys can go ahead and catch it on the replay. We talked about definition of Chicano. We talked about unity de raza. We talked about Native Americans versus Mexicans. A lot of people didn't know the war with Geronimo, on how they killed his family. And he went to this deathbed saying if he had strength one more time, he would go to war with the Mexicans again. Chingado. We all think that, we all get along. No, in the country of Mexico, lo mismo pasa. Los güeros talk down on los prietos, and this society and that society. That's everywhere. So we talked about that. We talked about cultura, bloodlines a little bit, labels, a lot of Chicano culture and history. My brother from another mother, I appreciate you for coming on tonight.
Oh man, thanks for having me on. I appreciate that for sure.
Andale pues, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, but I appreciate you, carnal. Hey, stay in touch. Don't forget to subscribe. All of my subscribers, don't go yet. I'm always going to teach you how to do this, all right? Hit the X on the chat. It only stops it for a second or two, the chat. And then go over there and hit the like button, and then go subscribe over to Southtown as the hermano. I apologize. We didn't get a chance to talk about perros. I know you're passionate about that. That's why we got to do a part 2, and we'll bring you back on after Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, for sure. We could talk about that, bro, because that's what got me to go up north, and that's how I met my first norteño in person, and we can speak on all that, bro, for sure.
Beautiful. I'll let you go, hermano. Gracias for tapping in, eh?
All right. Good night, everybody.
Cuídate. That's right. I appreciate Southtown SD. We're going ahead and we're wrapping it up. 8:30 p.m. live on Wednesday night on Chicano Tube, live on Chicano Street. I'm going to go ahead and touch on something, respectfully. I talked a little bit about it before my guest came on. And then now that he leaves, about the situation with the car show. That's an embarrassing situation. You know who I'm talking to, también. This guy has multiple personality disorder. I really think he needs medication at this point. You need medicine. You need to pick one personality, because one time you're over here trying to educate the people. You got fired from the city council and don't even owe an apology. You don't think to your own incumbents? Come on now. It's worse than that now. Now he's talking about there's old videos of him saying low-level gangbanging. But then there's a video that surfaces that he said, I told my homie, hey, come on, let's go look for this fool. That's the most confusing signals to the youngsters. I'm telling you, watch out. Con estos cabrones, they have a complex inside of them. It's either little wee syndrome, it's either short man syndrome, or it's I need to be a tough guy and I need validation by having people around me syndrome. I don't know what it is, but from the old school, we handle shit by ourselves. If you don't know what that's about, it's probably better off that you didn't know what that's about. Gracias, you guys. Hit that like one more time. We'll be back on Friday night. Primeramente Dios, es Cinco de Mayo weekend. You never know when you see the beautiful, smoking, sexy, hot wife. She might be right by my side, and maybe a sexy Mexican outfit or blusa or blouse. You never know. You could have us in here. And if you want to have us, maybe when she comes back on, we'll talk more health. We'll talk more things that are her topics. And then, of course, with me, cabron, you already know what you're going to get. You're going to get nothing but Chicanismo live on Chicano Tube, live from Chicano Street, from the Alisal district, the 93905. The 831's in the casa. I send blessings your ways, you guys. I'll see you guys back on Friday night. Don't forget to hit that like button. That's all I ask, cabron. This whole production, everything right here, gracias to the 10K that we hit last month. This whole production is for the raza. I don't call myself that. You guys drop comments and say, you're this, you're that. I don't call myself nothing. I'm just a humble servant. This is our movement, bigger than Mikey. All I ask is hit that like button and spread the word, Mockingbird, and let them know Chicano Tube. You haven't heard of them on YouTube? You better get with the times. Gracias, you guys. I'm out. I'll see you on Friday night. But remember what I always say. Remember what I always say. The most important thing, in the end, all you got is the memories.